Hello forest friends, I have come to hunt for horsetail. The scent is good. It looks just like a tea. It has a very ancient plant rich in silicon, and it is great because with horsetail decoction you fight fungal diseases and strengthen plants. In order to find horsetail, it is advisable to explore moist regions, particularly those adjacent to lakes or within ditches. Luckily, I have discovered a location that provides a plentiful supply of this plant, and now I am commencing the process of harvesting it. The collection of horsetail is not challenging as it can be easily retrieved from the roots. As an alternative method, you may gather it by separating its segments, which effortlessly separate from one another. The use of a knife or scissors is unnecessary for the harvesting of horsetail, as the segments are easily detachable from each other by simply pulling them apart. Horsetail is harvested between June and August. There are also reeds in the can, and I can hear the little birds living among the reeds singing, moving around. I consider myself extremely fortunate as I stumbled upon a great abundance of horsetail. Luckily, this plant is readily available, and obtaining the necessary raw material to create homemade decoctions for the garden should be a breeze. In order to transform this horsetail into a treatment for my vegetables, I have various methods at my disposal. One option is to create a macerate, another is to make a decoction, or alternatively, I can opt for the simpler approach of making an infusion. For this particular case, I will choose to make an infusion. This means that instead of cooking my horsetail leaves in water for approximately 30 minutes, I will prepare the leaves in small pieces and then pour boiling water over them. Once that is done, I will allow it to cool. At this point, my plant product will be ready for use. Let me show you what I have prepared. A pot. Currently, the absence of water is the result of needing to heat it separately. There exist horsetail plants and leaves which I have already gathered. Additionally, I possess a scale that will aid me in calculating the necessary quantity. Specifically, I require the weight of 300 grams of fresh horsetail per liter of water. To make it manageable, I proceed to divide the horsetail into smaller sections. Consequently, this facilitates the handling of the plant in the pot and expedites the straining process once it is prepared. By doing so, the abundance of leaves becomes unnecessary. To date, I have already accumulated 100 grams of horsetail leaves. I transfer the first 200 grams into the pot and then I go and put the last 100 grams in. I have a good amount of horsetail that I harvested and still have some left over. To preserve it, I can make bunches, tie them up, and hang them to dry. This way, I can use the dried horsetail for the next time I need it. Since it becomes lighter when dried, 100 grams of horsetail will be sufficient. I always use 100 grams of horsetail for every liter of water. Here are my bunches, which I will now hang up to let the horsetail dry. This way, I'll have dried horsetail ready for when I need to prepare more. The water is boiling and I'm going to pour it right away. Now we will leave it in this place for as long as necessary to cool down. Alternatively, we could have utilized these quantities to produce a decoction. In this scenario, we would have placed water and leaves directly on the stove, waited for the water to reach boiling point, and allowed it to continue boiling for a minimum duration of 30 minutes. That way, our preparation would definitely become more potent. The method of application is your choice. It can be either through foliar spreading or via the roots. For foliar spreading, we will dilute it with varying percentages depending on our specific purpose. However, regardless of the dilution, this method has a remarkable characteristic of not just curing, but also preventing fungal diseases. This prehistoric plant is exceedingly rich in essential minerals that are vital for the optimal growth of our plants. The most crucial mineral, which happens to be present in the highest concentration, is silica. This plant possesses an exceptionally high percentage of silica, which proves highly advantageous for plants in defending themselves and creating protective structures against external threats. Moreover, horsetail holds great significance for human health as well. It is widely used for various reasons, including strengthening bones. However, one must exercise great caution when considering gathering horsetail for consumption purposes. There are numerous species, and ensuring the correct variety and appropriate harvest conditions are vital. Now I shall wait for the water to cool down before filtering and distributing the prepared solution. The distribution will be carried out with further dilution, as this concentrated product requires careful handling. Timelessly ensuring the effectiveness and keeping the original intent intact, I have successfully transformed the text to embody approximately 167 words while preserving its contextual meaning and importance. We are now ready to strain this horsetail infusion. So first thing, I'm going to remove the leaves that are a lot, and I'm going to recover the liquid that is underneath. I tell you that for the infusion, given the way I use this time, you can put even more than a liter of. All right, now I'm going to pour the water into this plastic bottle. In order to ensure thorough filtration and eliminate any remaining impurities that might cause problems during distribution, especially if I decide to use a spray dispenser, I will use a funnel. Additionally, to further enhance the filtration process, I will repurpose an old sock to act as a filter. I'll simply cut off the bottom part of the sock. Remember, this technique works best with socks that you no longer have any use for. Here I have my concentrated silica product extracted from horsetail. Finally, I find myself in the garden ready to apply my horsetail infusion. Luckily, I have multiple methods at my disposal. I can utilize a spray to evenly distribute the infusion across all my plants. If I'm dealing with a small vegetable garden or just a few plants that require treatment, a simple spray of the desired size will suffice. Another option for effectively distributing the horsetail infusion to the roots, or at the very least to a certain extent, is to use a watering can. Horsetail is a versatile treatment that helps prevent fungal diseases. It is beneficial to apply it to the leaves, which are susceptible to these types of ailments, as well as the roots, which can potentially develop rot. To properly distribute the infusion on the plants, it needs to be diluted, and the ideal ratio is 1 part horsetail infusion to 7 parts water. However, if a milder solution is desired, a ratio of 1 to 10 can be used. In my 5-liter pump, I plan to add approximately half a liter of preparation to approximately 700 ml of water. This treatment is primarily preventative in nature, so if your vegetables are already contaminated with mold, it may not be as effective. However, if your goal is to fortify and protect your plants, it acts almost like a fertilizer, aiding them in becoming stronger against various challenges and difficulties they may face. It's also great for tomatoes. Using horsetail macerate in the garden is a highly beneficial, all-natural and organic defense strategy. The best part is, it won't cost you a dime. I hope you found the video on this topic informative. Thank you for watching, and please consider following our channel as well as others from Ogygia Forest. We'll see you again soon in our next video. Goodbye.